So this video starts with a very special rescue, and not only at the time, but fast forward to the future and a lot of things that we have done through Gamila Unbridled. And if it weren't for skipping the 20 miles of the Sierra Mountains, we would have never had the opportunity to go to the Medicine Horse Project. And it is one phenomenal place. It is so beautiful, but with the extra time, we wanted to give back to another organization, and an organization that changed the course of our lives in a lot of ways. Morning, guys. I am here with two of my new best friends. We met them yesterday afternoon, and I feel like we're family already. This is Chris and Morgan. They are the owners here of the Medicine Horse Project in Imlay, Nevada, and it is the most beautiful place you have ever seen. Not only the horses, but the environment. And we got the opportunity to come here and spend 3 days here with Chris and Morgan and spend some time with their horses. And I wanted to introduce you guys so they can tell their story a little bit and let you know a little bit how they found it, how they came about, and a little bit more about their horses.
We are so thrilled to have you here. We've been prepping all week, and we just can't wait to see what happens with these horses. So thank you for being here.
Of course.
We started Medicine Horse Project in 2015, so we're a fairly new organization, but growing like weeds. It really was born of the concept of these horses that need rescue from abuse, neglect, those that fall in risk of the slaughter pipeline, and the rehabilitation in them we found was rehabilitating people. So we wanted to do more than just rescue. We wanted to partner those rescued horses with people that are seeking healing, hope, and resilience. And the power in that partnership between a horse that a human has given up on, and let's face it, that's the only reason why a horse comes here, is because a human has given up on it, with a human that may have given up on themselves. And that relationship just breeds powerful, beautiful healing. And that's what we're all about, healing.
Yep. Horses and people find themselves here. They find each other here, and it's really neat to watch that come to fruition. You see the light bulbs come on, you see people find themselves, you see them discover themselves, and build a new you inside themselves. So it's been a good experience out here. This is a brand new facility that we've been working on since last May. And now we are still in process, but it is a working facility, and it is now able to host people like Pat here, and we're really honored to have them here for this journey.
And I have to brag a little bit. If you could scan around a little bit, they built this entire facility by themselves, and it is top notch. Like, they have big pens for all the horses. They have ways the horses to get into the round pen, and they did it all by manual labor. As Morgan said, it's a working farm, and their vision really aligns with us. And what we're trying to do is how we connect with these horses to become not only better people, but also give these horses an education so that they can help people become better people. And so for the next 3 days, we're going to be here. We're going to be working with all these wonderful horses. We're going to use liberty techniques to see how far we can get these horses to trust. And a lot of these horses are open for adoption. They're looking for the forever home. So we're going to be posting, we have Facebook Lives in the morning, in the afternoon, and we're going to be posting different pictures and videos of all the horses that are available for adoption. And last thing, guys, they are a nonprofit. They just moved here. They're building a well, and we are going to ask for donations. Again, this whole journey, Gamila Unbridled, is for organizations like the Medicine Horse Project to give back to people that care so much about horses. So we're going to post a link. If you tune into any of these Facebook Lives, we ask if you at least give a $5 donation to the Medicine Horse Project, just to show that we are giving back, because we're not taking anything, we're trying to give everything. And so we're going to post that link to you, so please give back to the Medicine Horse Project. They're building a well. These horses need feed and continue to be taken care of to the best of their ability, because they all look just fantastic. But money doesn't grow on trees, and we need people like you guys to give back as well. So we love y'all. Can't wait to see the next 3 days and the progress we make. And thank you again, Morgan and Chris, for allowing us to be here.
Thank you for tuning in and watching. Everybody have a great day.
in Nevada. It has been a wonderful 3 days and really a huge blessing. Again, this is Chris and Morgan, the two presidents and that run this beautiful operation here. And man, it has been incredible. And so we're just going to tell you a little bit about the highlights of the weekend here, and I'm going to leave that to Morgan and Chris. And I'm also going to get you guys to introduce this beautiful, beautiful Mustang you have here, who's also kind of the face of the franchise.
Introduce her, Morgan.
This is Mojo. She is now 7 years old. We got her from a BLM satellite adoption. She came from Red Rocks Lake.
I blew into the microphone when I was trying to say something to me, and I don't know what she's trying to tell me to do, and I blew, and she started laughing.
No,
So,
I said just apologize for the wind.
Yeah, I got it.
Mojo, turn the wind off. The wind is...
So sorry, Morgan. Go ahead.
Yeah, Mojo's come a long way. She was actually about 1.5 years old, a yearling, when we got her, and we were told she was a little bit older, and now she should have actually come with a step stool. She's kind of big, and she is not, you cannot just jump on this girl, but she is very, very friendly, just likes to just kind of be and hang out with you. She's come a long way. She participates in a lot of programs. She fits in well with most of the horses that come through. She always is a friend to them and sticks up for the ones that can't stick up for themselves, and she just likes to be with us sometimes, and she's a kind of a character.
A little bit of a character, I can tell.
Yeah, a little bit. She's a jokester.
Does almost anything you ask her to do.
We have to really thank Patrick and his sister for being here. It's been an amazing 3 days, and one that I still think we're licking and chewing on. We have a lot to process. Unbelievable how far we've brought these horses in 3 days. We've done a first halter. We've trimmed some feet that have never been trimmed before. We've done some first saddles and first rides. And we have one pending adoption and maybe two, which is just amazing, which was what this was about. Amen. Was bringing awareness to what we do and the healing of these horses and finding them forever homes. And we are just overwhelmed with gratitude and feel so blessed because he's part of the family and we're not letting him go.
Yeah. That's right.
He's staying.
And again, it is people, I'm genuine about saying this, it is people like Morgan and Chris that make this journey possible and makes the reason why we want to do this journey. They are amazing people. We feel part of the family, and the volunteers here also make this run the way it should. And Nettie and I are traveling across the country with Gammy and Hal, but we do it for people like these two and horses like this. We do it for the good of trying to make a little bit of change, one step at a time, and we cannot thank all of you guys for your support with all your donations, your comments, your love, and just checking out the Medicine Horse Project and all that they have to offer. So I really ask all you guys to continue to follow the Medicine Horse Project, all the wonderful things you do. If you're ever in Nevada, if you do not stop off here, you are missing out. One incredible facility, 2 beautiful horses, 3 beautiful people, and really just an environment that you'll remember for the rest of your lives. So again, thanks for tuning in this weekend. We're taking off back to Fallon tomorrow, and we are headed east on I-50, about 2,400 miles left to go.
And great job on saying Nevada correctly.
Yeah. You did it. This is a huge. So when we got to the Medicine Horse Project, we were talking with their owners, and they said that they were looking to put in a well for their horses because they had just moved out to the property. They were building everything for themselves, and at the time I think they were using their neighbor's well, but they needed to come up with $7,000 in order to finish the well on a Monday. And we got there on a Friday, I believe, and by the end of our experience there, we were able to help them raise the money that they needed in order to build the well. And to me, it was a God thing. It was something that represented a purpose of why we were there. We were able to raise awareness for this beautiful organization and what they were doing. And they were able to accomplish building the well that they didn't have the money for if we wouldn't have come. So it was a really special moment in the journey, and it's something that we felt like that was the reason why we went. And one other cool thing that we never ever would have imagined is we ended up actually rescuing ourselves Nostalgia, our beautiful chestnut mare from them, an ex-bucking stock horse who was from Nevada. And she has a really special story all in herself, and we'll share that with you guys one day. So check out our Gamila Unbridled page for more information about Nostalgia, because she's really, really cool. And we would have had the opportunity to rescue her and to adopt her without the Medicine Horse Project. What's up, guys? So we're back at it. We're here in Fallon, Nevada, about to head out east. We're hoping to go about 20 to 25 miles today, probably more 20 miles, just because Gammy had a nice long 4-day break when we were up at the Medicine Horse Project, the rescue, and it sure was gorgeous. We were so thankful for the opportunity to get up there and work with those rescue horses. And I tell you what, this trip is not about us riding Bridleless across the country. It is about giving back to these organizations that use horses to heal people and people to heal horses. And really, it's just to raise awareness. But the riding part is also an important step in this journey, so that we can continue to raise awareness so that we can help others. And today is Training Tip Tuesday, sponsored by the Pyramid Society. And the Pyramid Society, once again, is the breeding organization that is for the Egyptian Arabian, which both Gammy and Hal are. So we definitely recommend you check out their website just to learn a little bit more about these horses and where they're going. But in terms of the tip of the week, the whole point of Liberty is founded on one thing, and that is draw. And when people ask what draw is the horse finding comfort with you in the space. It doesn't matter what the space is. It could be a pen like this behind us. It could be a round pen, an arena, or out in a 100,000 acre pasture out in Nevada somewhere. It doesn't matter. The most important thing is your horse being able to find comfort with you, and that is draw. When a horse is around you and wants to be with you and follows you like it does the herd, that is draw, my friends. And how we create it by allowing the horse to find that relaxation, to find comfort, and to find that peace in your space with you. Because even when you're asking a horse to do tricks, and you're asking him to circle you, and you're asking him to go out away from you, you always want them thinking about coming back. So if you're having problems with Liberty, or you're just starting your Liberty, remember, the foundation is the draw. You want your horse to be comfortable with you at all times, because if they're not, you're losing that draw. So thanks for tuning in to the tip of the week. We are taking out on this chilly, brisk morning here, and we're hoping to get some nice riding in, and we're excited. So if you see us out on the road, give us a honk, give us a wave. We love you guys, and we'll talk to you soon. So this was a really impactful day in probably my entire life, but especially this trip. So we just got out of Fallon, Nevada, and we were out and heading into the desert. And we were very isolated. All I could see were mountains ahead of us. There were very few people, very limited car traffic. We were on this side dirt road in the middle of the desert. And it was the first time in the trip that I started to feel anxiety. And I think for the first time in my life, I started to have a panic attack. I was thinking to myself, why am I doing this trip? I'm in the middle of the desert with this horse that I love and that I trust. And if something happens, I'm pretty much out of luck. Why am I doing this trip? What's the point of it all? And this probably was going through my head for probably no longer than 5 or 10 minutes. But I started to feel my blood pressure go up, my heart rate started to race, and all of a sudden I look down in the sand in the middle of the desert, and I see this slightly torn American flag. And it gives me chills thinking about it, because it was a turning point, not only for that day, but for my life and this entire trip. Because this whole point of this trip was to share the freedoms that we can give to these horses through Liberty. And that American flag represented the freedoms that we had, that I had, in order to go and travel across the country on this horse that I love, Bridleless, sharing with people the power of liberty. And for that, I am so thankful. And this American flag stayed with us for the rest of the trip. And any day that I started to wonder why is it that we were doing this, I just looked at that flag and remembered our purpose. Happy Tuesday, guys. From Nevada, Gammy and I are starting our way east. We've been about I don't know, 14 miles a day, got another 6 in the day. The sun just came out, and man, it turned out to be a beautiful day. It was cold this morning as we went through Fallon, and Gammy's getting a little more tired, but she's doing really good. She enjoyed the last 4 days of rest, and we're working our way east. And I tell you, it's been this morning I got up, and I really wasn't that excited to start my ride, to be honest. I was tired from the weekend, and just working a lot of horses, and it's just having to be on your game all the time with these horses. I was kind of just tired, and when I got out and started the ride, as soon as I threw my leg on Gammy, I was like, man, I feel great. This is what it's about. And we went by and met some cool people along the way. They just stopped and waved, and they loved Arabians, and they loved horses. And then I went by a military base, and they were flying these F-16s all along, like right above us, and landing and taking off. I wish I had some video, but it was cold and overcast, and you couldn't see them until they landed. And then the coolest thing that I did is I found this American flag on the side of the highway on the ground, and we all know we cannot let our American flag hit the ground. So I decided to pick it up and carry it with me across the country, because it really reminds me of why we have the privilege of an opportunity to do this. Is from our servicemen and women, and our armed forces, our police officers, our teachers, our nurses, and everybody that gives us our freedom every single day. And so I think about our flag. I think about how much and how thankful I am to be an American, to be in this country. And there's a lot of beautiful parts of the world, but Gammy and I and Hal and Nettie get an opportunity to see this gorgeous country together, and the freedoms that we're allowed. So I'm going to try to keep this flag with me. It has a little rip in its side, but I'm going to try to fix that and sew it. I don't know how to sew very well. I took home ec in like 10th grade, but I'm going to try to make that happen. So I don't know how much service we're going to have coming up, but because we're headed into the middle of the desert and on I-50 in Nevada. But I really appreciate all you guys' support. We really do are thankful, and we're just doing this to give back. And I tell you what, if you're ever having a bad day, just go take your horse for a walk, or if you don't have a horse, go see some in your neighborhood or drive somewhere to see them. And if you can't do that, look them up online, because they are certainly So after a couple days of riding Hal with the halter, mostly I just had it on. I didn't really use it at all. I was just using the neck rope. I thought today is the day where I'm going to take the halter off, and we're going to ride as far as we can without it. I said always, if I had to put it back on, I would. But this was the changing day for Hal, because I trusted him. I felt like I was able to control him at that point to say if he got spooked, that neck rope would make sure that we were okay. And I can't say that I was a little nervous, because I felt like he was prepared. And at the end of the day, it's about his safety first, my safety, and I really felt like we were ready to go. And it stayed off for the rest of the trip, because he was just a phenomenal partner, and one that just stayed connected. And even though he had a little bit of emotional spells here and there, he always kept it together, and he always stayed with me when he got bothered. And for that, I'll always be thankful. What's up, guys? We are at Cold Springs Pony Express Station here in Nevada. So one interesting fact about Nevada is that when I thought about it, I thought just flat desert, but I was totally wrong. It is completely opposite. It's desert, but it's full of mountains. I feel like it's in a mountain state, because every time we go over a mountain, we come down through a valley, and there's a beautiful, huge mountain range in front of us, and it's just incredible to ride. We haven't had a lot of service the last couple days, but we stopped in here. Nettie and I and the horses, it's you guys as well, because that's what makes it special. We're really trying to give back one day at a time, and really just share the journey with each and every one of you, and make it a personal thing. And that's why we try to reply to each and every comment. I feel bad because we haven't had service, and we can't really reply to y'all's comments, but I did read them today, and I just am so humbled and thankful. Anyway, I want to share a quick story with you guys. and just catch you up a little bit on the journey. So today I rode Hal 21 miles, and as you guys know, I haven't been riding Bridleless along the highway, only in parks and in certain places. Just because, a little history on Hal, we've talked a lot about Gammy, but Hal was actually the second horse I ever started under saddle 6 years ago when I got into horses. And he was the typical Arabian that you see. He was flighty, he was scared of everything, and just really difficult to ride. And we see this a lot, is that we find these horses, and that's why I love rescue horses so much, is because we find these horses that have these emotional, we call it baggage, but it doesn't mean that they're damaged. And baggage just means you can get over it. Baggage means you can let go of it anytime you want, and our job is to help these horses get through it. And Hal just had a lot of emotional baggage, and it wasn't through trauma, you know, it was through just him being scared of everything. And my sister, shout out to her, the last couple of years have really bonded with him, really got him comfortable with people, and really just helped him relax. But let me tell you something about Hal. Is today, for the first time, after 15 miles, we took off the bridle and rode the last couple miles all bridleless, and I feel comfortable on top of him, being able to stop, go left, right, wherever we want. And so I think the rest of the journey we're going to ride bridleless on Hal. So we rode probably about 40 miles with Hal with the halter on and ropes, but after today we're taking the bridle off, and we're just going to continue our journey. Tomorrow I'm getting back, and we're riding Gammy. We're going to ride into Fallon, not Fallon, we're going to ride into Austin tomorrow, and we just can't wait. Again, Nevada is beautiful. You guys are amazing, and we're just so thankful for this journey that we're on to give back to people, horses, and show. So a really exciting part of this trip was we got to ride a large portion of the Pony Express Trail. And for those who aren't familiar with Pony Express, I highly recommend that you look up more details. But in a nutshell, it is the way that news used to travel from west to east and east to west, important information. And it was usually men, but also some women that would travel with mail with urgent news all along this road. It was a treacherous trail. It was one that was full of, you know, enemies and full of really scary things, and it was very difficult on the horses. In a couple nights, we were able to stay along and close to a lot of the monuments and locations across this trail that gave us more information, and it was a really powerful message because long before Gammy and Hal and I took on this journey, they were brave men and women that were traveling across the country on horseback to give important news from one side to the other. What's happening, guys? Gammy and I are here. We are stopped at this Pony Express Trail sign, and just probably maybe another 8-9 miles outside of Austin, Nevada. Oops, looks like Gammy lost a shoe. Anyway, so we're about 8 or 9 miles outside of Austin, Nevada, and it is gorgeous out here. Like, we've had a lot of rain, and we've had some hail today and some wind. It's been cold, but man, it is phenomenally gorgeous. I have a challenge for each and every one of you guys. So the last really 4 nights or so, we've been staying at Pony Express stations. And for those who don't know what the Pony Express was, it was a way in the 1800s that people could get messages across the country. So important messages during the Civil War and during, you know, wartime, where they could communicate all the way from California to Missouri, maybe even a little bit further east. And these young men typically were younger, and they would gallop their horses 10 to 15 miles per hour. Incredible. And then they would switch out their horses at the stations and then keep riding because they had very important messages to get across. And I think about it today, and you know, back then horses were used as tools. They were a means of transportation. You had to use them to get around. You had to get them to send messages. You had to use them as your cars. You had to get them to pull wagons to plow your fields. Now, for the most part, horses are entertainment. Horses are friends. Horses are not tools for the most part. I'll mention there are other circumstances where they are, but we need to treat our horses like they are part of our family, like they are someone that has a soul, that does have a mind of their own, and one that wants to communicate with us. And that's what this whole journey is about, is to help people realize that these horses are no longer tools, that they are members of your herd. They want to be with you just like you want to be with them, as long as they're treated right. And walking across and cantering and trotting across this beautiful state of Nevada is really, every single day I'm riding Gammy, just like this Bridleless, is a reminder to how thankful I am to have this opportunity, and that God gave us the horse. Love you guys. Have a happy Sunday. We'll talk to you guys soon. So Hal had already seen Mustangs, but for the first time, Gammy and I got to see Mustangs. And she wasn't bothered at all. She had some looks. She wanted to see what was going on, but she just stayed even keel, just like she did for the entirety of the trip. And it was a really beautiful situation for us, is because if you have never seen a herd of wild Mustangs in their element, in their environment, it's truly magical. It's something incredibly special. And the fact that I was able to see these horses along with Gammy on our trip across the country made it even that much more special. And I'm just so thankful that she didn't really blink an eye. She looked, and we continued on, and that takes a lot for a horse, especially when they don't have anything on their head to control them, to say, hey, look, there's a big herd of horses, but I'm connected with you because you're my partner. Gammy's first encounter with wild Mustangs. Wow, it's a big herd of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So freaking cool. He's good girl. Freaking awesome. They're all like black or roan. Man, they are pretty. How you doing, Gammy? What you think about that? Don't know if you can see it, but they are gorgeous. Wow, we're just at the Mount Airy summit, elevation 6,679 feet. We're coming over the hill here, and oh my God, the mountain range in front of you is breathtaking. It is phenomenal. Gammy's ears are like, what the heck is going on? Wow, just breathtaking.